mean, what you're saying is QE infinity, that you just keep creating money on a digital keypad or printing it, and then just keep flooding this liquidity into the system. I mean, surely at some point there's a day of reckoning.
Well, yes, that's entirely possible. But let me remind you, in 2012, the Federal Reserve invited the economist Robert Wenzel to give them a speech. Basically, Robert Wenzel's message to the Federal Reserve Board of Governors was that you have two choices. Either you continue printing to no end, or if you stop printing, you're going to have a massive economic crisis on your hands. So the Federal Reserve tried to taper their quantitative easing programs in 2018, and at the end of 2018, we had a 20% stock market crash, and it was obvious that the economy was going to grind to a halt. And so what we saw in January 2019 was that the Federal Reserve abruptly reversed itself, ramped up quantitative easing again, the government increased their deficit spending, and then the economy went back to growth and the equity and other asset markets continued to rise. I think this was a very good case telling us that the central banks have no choice. If they stop the QE, we're going to have a very severe economic crisis, probably a depression, the likes of which we haven't experienced, probably worse than what we had in 1930s. So their only choice is to continue with QE and to go as far as they can. And that usually leads to high inflation, but it's either their banks fail or we have high inflation. And their banks failing is they're taking the hit. Inflation is everybody else taking the hit. So I think that their choice has been clear.